Hey friends, welcome back to the channel Football Analytics. Today I'm going to be giving out tips for Saturday and Sunday. As usual for the newcomers, I suggest to bet on goals instead of outcomes of games. And also try if you can to bet on singles or doubles instead of the huge accumulators. I know last weekend was fire. We basically won every single game except one refund, but it's not always going to be this way. We're going to lose sometimes, but the most important is still to be in profit. And that's why I always suggest to bet on singles or doubles. Now, let's start off in La Liga. We got a game between Mallorca and Betis. Mallorca just knocked out Girona from Copa del Rey. We actually had a couple of sensations this midweek and also the previous one. Basically, all the big teams are out right now. Barcelona got knocked out by the Williams brothers. Inaki came right on time. But Girona, this is really good because now they can only focus on the league. Now, back to the game. So, Mallorca have only one victory in the last 5 games in La Liga. That's the same as Betis. But at home, they're solid. They actually haven't lost in 10 consecutive games. A lot of draws are happening. While their opponent, Betis, has been on the decline. They slid off the top 6 race a bit. And that's because of their away form. They only have one victory in the last 10 games. And in the last 4, 3 losses. So I'm expecting a bounce-back game here from Betis. Well, at least to score 1 goal. But at the same time, I'm expecting Mallorca, with how decent they have been at home, to score as well. So I'm liking the odds here for BTTS. It's over 2, currently at 205. So that's going to be my first tip, that Mallorca and Betis are both going to be scoring. Now for the second tip, let's head to AFCON. Really impressive. A lot of goals are happening, except yesterday, 3-0-0 games. But now all the draws are set and we have a lot of good games. Like 5 out of the 8 games are really good. And let's look into it. One of them is Nigeria against Cameroon. Now, before diving into the game, let's actually look at the outright odds. Who's going to win the AFCON, the favorites. So my pick has been Morocco. I know it's the most basic pick to go with, especially with how they performed in the World Cup. That's why the bookies are giving us 255. I'm actually surprised to see Ivory Coast at 450. They're lucky to even qualify. So actually, guys, give me your winner and the underdog pick for this AFCON. So my favorite is Morocco at 255. And with the underdog, I really want to go with Equatorial Guinea here, but I'm going to go with Mali. So back to the game. Nigeria hasn't impressed me at all this AFCON so far. I mean, they haven't even scored over 1 goal in the group stage. Every single game, they won by a 1 goal margin. The first one, we actually had that as the underdog pick on Equatorial Guinea to score against them. And actually, that was the only goal they conceded. And who knows, maybe they're going to have a breakout game soon. Well, Cameroon, I also expected much more from them. They did qualify in the 2nd place, just like Nigeria. Their last game against Gambia was crazy. Could have finished 3-3. But what I did like about this Cameroon team is that every single game went BTTS. Of course, because we're betting on goals. And considering that Nigeria hasn't conceded in the last 2 games, I'm tempted to go here with Cameroon just to score in this game. Now, the only risk we could run here is that the game could go into extra time, so both teams don't have to score. It could finish 0-0. And preferably, let's get an early goal in this game. Then I believe that Cameroon can score at least 1 goal. So my final tip is Cameroon just to score against Nigeria. Now for a third tip, let's head to Serie A game between the current league leaders now, Juventus and Empoli. League leaders because Inter had a Super Cup going on last week, so they have a game in hand. But actually Juve, if they beat Empoli this game, they can go +4 before Inter plays Fiorentina. So Empoli is currently in the relegation zone. They had a massive victory against Monza. But to be honest, this game should not be much of a story the way Juve is playing. Unless Juve decide to play their usual 0-0 game until the 60th minute, which we actually had against Lecce last week, and then they ended up winning that game 3-0. By the way, congrats again to the people who took the bets last week. Even as singles, doubles, I hope a lot of you made the profit because not every week is going to be like this. But last week was a good one. Let's see what this one brings. And once again, my tip here would be is to go with Juve over 1.5. Bookies are giving us odds 155 currently. And if you're betting online, even better because Juve is the type of team, as I said, that goes 0-0 till about the 60th, 70th minute. And that's where you can grab higher odds for Juve just to score. But my tip here, as I'm making this video a couple of days before, is to go with over 1.5 on Juve. Now for last tip, we're heading to the Bundesliga game between Hoffenheim and Heidenheim. And basically, those 2 teams are going different directions now. Hoffenheim has been on a downfall, 1 victory in the last 10 games. And surprisingly, they're only 4 points away from the 6th place, which is the Conference League. And the newly promoted Heidenheim is on the come up. In the last 5 games, they got 2 draws and 3 victories. And actually, if they win this game, they're going to surpass Hoffenheim. Now, there's one stat that I really like about Hoffenheim. 16 games at home. They've gone BTTS. And of course, we got some friendly games in between there, but they usually go BTTS. And with the way Heidenheim has been playing, I'm liking for that BTTS streak to continue. The bookies are giving us odds 155 as well. So my last tip for Saturday, I got Hoffenheim and Heidenheim both scoring. Now let's start off with the Sunday's games and let's get back to Serie A game between Napoli and Lazio. Both of those teams actually played in the Super Cup and they both got blanked by Inter. The Napoli game caused a lot of controversy because they got a red card. But both of those teams didn't manage to score against Inter. So this could potentially be a huge game for the fourth spot because they're still within reach and the fourth place is still a battle between like Fiorentina, Bologna, which I don't think are going to be getting the fourth spot. So realistically, it's going to be Lazio, Napoli, and Roma, maybe Atalanta. Now, as I stated on many occasions on this channel, that Lazio is a really great home team. They got 10 victories in the last 12 games. And even crazier, they went 9 games with a clean sheet. While Napoli, I still don't know what to make of this team. On paper, they're still solid. I don't like their coach, Mazzari. They are missing Osimhen due to AFCON. But I do like 2 stats here. The head-to-head matches. Funny enough, that's how it's been in the previous years. When Napoli travels to to Rome, to play Lazio, they always score, they always win the game. And when Lazio travel to Napoli, they always win the game. Now they're playing in Rome and Lazio. I'm liking Napoli to score, but I'm also liking Lazio to score in this game. So I'm going with BTTS here. The odds are almost at 2. It's currently at 195. So my first tip for Sunday is to go with Lazio and Napoli to both score. Now for a second tip, let's head to France. It seems like we haven't done a game in a while from the French league because there's been the cup games. So here we go. We got Clermont against Strasbourg. Clermont is currently pre-last in the league. They had a massive victory against Nantes, their last game, because now they can use all the points they can get. I still think they're going to be relegated this year with the way they're playing at home. While Strasbourg has been a pleasant surprise. In the last 7 games, they have 5 victories and only 2 draws. And their last one actually came against Clermont in the cup. They beat them 3-1. I'm expecting Strasbourg to score here again, but we're going to be rolling with over 1 goal. The safer pick with better odds. It's currently at 176. For the newcomers, get a website that has this bet over 1. It means if Strasbourg scores 1 goal, you automatically get a refund. You can also put this bet in a double because I receive questions like that. You can put over 1s in accumulators. So over 1 means refund. If Strasbourg scores 2 goals, you win the bet. You'll only lose the bet if Strasbourg doesn't score at all. So my second tip is to go with Strasbourg over 1 against Clermont. Now for the third tip, let's head back to AFCON. We got a game between one of my favorite teams to bet on currently, Equatorial Guinea against Guinea. Hopefully we get an underrated game here, potentially. So Equatorial Guinea, we know all about them. So they score against Nigeria, the underdog pick. Then they go to score 4 against Guinea-Bissau and then 4 against the host, Ivory Coast. They have the top scorer, Nsue. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He has 5 of them. So they're facing off Guinea, who had a tough group. They only had 1 victory in it against Gambia. Then they drew against Cameroon and they ended up losing, which is fair, against Senegal 2-0. But Guinea played a lot of low-scoring games. All of them went under 2.5. That's my only concern here because I am going to be riding till the end with Equatorial Guinea. Bookies are giving us good odds here for Equatorial Guinea just to score. 165 currently. My only worry here is that they're due for a stinker. I just hope they end up scoring 1 goal or this game doesn't finish 0-0. So my final tip is to go and ride till the end with Equatorial Guinea just to score 1 goal against Guinea. Now for the fourth tip, let's end it where we started. In La Liga, we got a game between Sevilla and Osasuna. And Sevilla guys have been absolute trash. They haven't won in 9 consecutive games. Their last victory was against Almeria. And they're currently 1 point away from the relegation. While Osasuna have been pretty impressive in the league, especially because they lost a couple of games in the cup and stuff. But in the league, in the last 4 games, they have 3 victories. They are, though, a terrible away team. They only have 1 point in the last 5. Do I believe Sevilla can win this game? I don't know, and I don't care. But can Sevilla score it? I really hope so because they've been absolutely trash. And I think they're still an underrated team, at least on paper. And at home, I believe they can bounce back against Osasuna. But once again, I don't want to risk it. I like the odds of just over 1 goal. It's at 150, and I do believe they can score 1 goal. So that's going to be my final tip. Guys, so this is it for this weekend. We got about 8 tips in total. Thanks for tuning in. If you support this channel, hit the thumbs up. Good luck this weekend. Bet responsibly. Don't chase any bets. Stay healthy. That's the most important. And I'll see you in the next one. Adios.